Rudy Ruettiger's story has been told many times over the years in the form of a movie. The title, Rudy. Many of you have seen it. The kid who grows up dreaming to be a Notre Dame Fighting Irish football player. He has to go to military and then a junior college before he's accepted at Notre Dame, and he becomes the most famous walk-on in the history of the game. I sat down with Rudy Ruettiger to talk about the movie, his life, and the advice that he gives student athletes. Rudy, let's start with the questions that you've answered 900 times
900
in your life.
times.
You're sitting there one day and you get a phone call and somebody says, I want to make a movie on your life?
No, not true.
What happened? How did it happen?
I watched the movie Rocky.
Yeah?
I got on a plane and went to Hollywood.
And who'd you show the script to?
I had no script.
You had an idea?
Just an idea. Wanted to start talking to people. The first guy I spoke to, you might have known this guy, Body by Jake. Jake Steinfeld.
Yeah, the big man. Yep.
Yeah, and I walked in this restaurant and I asked the maitre d', any producers? He says, yeah, there's one back there in the corner. He said, it's Jake Steinfeld, Body by Jake. I said, oh, I know who he is. So I kind of went back there and sooner it was kind of like I allowed him to do his thing, and I kind of scoochied over by him and introduced myself. We started talking like you and I are. And he's from New York. And he's an underdog, so I started telling him my underdog journey to Notre Dame. He liked it. So I said, that's a good story. I said, thank you. And that kind of like started it.
Okay.
You got a positive feedback from someone. And he kind of connected my story to his journey, if that made sense. So I started thinking over the years, it's not about me. It's about other people. And if we can make the movie, the story that other people can connect to that journey would help them fulfill their goals and dreams. And that's what Rocky did for me, the movie, because he had so many wonderful messages in that movie.
Yep. Do you think that in some respects most kids are better off for life if they go through your journey, where you're maybe not the star player, the most gifted, but you learn to be a grinder?
That's a great question. I just got the Valor Award from the Navy called The Underdog, and that question was asked to me, and the way I answered was this. I said, you got to strip away your entitlement and earn through merit, and you'll be a better man. Nothing's free. You have to earn your way. Once you understand that, you'll be good the rest of your life. And I think kids today, because what's disturbing is all this money being thrown around to these kids now. What happens when they can't play football no more, can't earn that type of money? What happens to them? It's a lot of things are happening in the sports world today that's got to change. And unfortunately, because of TV money and all this, and that's why the industry was in Hollywood. It was all about what movie can we make more money on?
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'm not sure if my story would make money, but you have a good story. I kind of latched onto that. And
how much did it make?
Oh, it's
Still making, but
it's still making. They don't tell you.
a lot is the answer.
Yeah, a lot. And but it gave you a platform to deliver the message that perseverance pays off. Hope. You got to have a dream. You got to have hope. You got to have realistic goals. You got to have goals that you could reach. You got to do the little things that make sense to you to get to the big goal. And all these things are important. And that's what we wanted to bring out in the movie. Academics, I didn't do well in high school because I had a learning disorder, so I had to go get help. But I got help through the military when I joined during Vietnam. During the Vietnam War, my dad was a World War II veteran. He did the 22 missions on the B-17 bomber. It's fun. I met Rosie the Riveter. That riveted his plane a couple weeks ago in Washington when we did the Valor Awards. She was 101 years old. So you just never know who you're going to meet later on in life by taking that choice, making that decision, making that choice to do better. And I knew the Navy, I had to join to do better because I was stuck. And when you're stuck, you need to go out and find yourself, who you are, what you are, and earn that. And that's what the military did for me. It made me a believer in Rudy.
But if they said realistic wouldn't be ever playing in the field at Notre Dame, and you did it.
Well, realistically, they were right, because I was not a candidate for the football team. and walk-ons they really didn't want, and they had 85 scholarships. But because of the military, Era was Navy, ex-Navy. He honored the Navy, he honored a military kid. I was a junior when I walked on, so he allowed me to walk on as a junior. He didn't ask me how fast I ran. He knew I had character. And maybe this kid has something to offer the team that we need. Hard work pays off, get better, pays off every day. You don't have to be the best, but contribute to the team. That's what we need. And he saw that.
Did you get beat up a lot in practice, like it portrays?
Probably worse than what you thought, because they didn't take, look, the problem with a walk-on, they don't want you there, okay? Because they don't want you, they'll do everything to get you out of there. And the more you volunteer for stuff, I was okay, because I've been through boot camp, been through the, Mediterranean, North Atlantic. I was, fighting the Russian and whatever. I can deal with this. My life is kind of like, hey, you have to kill me before I leave, that type of attitude. I did not fear that type of punishment, so I was willing to take it. And because you kept yourself in shape, that helped. So, but that inspired other players. Why is this kid out here?
The coach
He's
knew that,
never
right?
The coach
he
knew
sent
that.
a message to the other guys that got the gifts, right?
Well, Divine would always bring that up at practice. Be more like Rudy. Coach, be quiet. No,
I don't want to get run over by these guys again. You just set me up.
Said, no, we can need more heart out here. That type of thing. So Dan was in the Army. He was military. So we all connected there. So when we made the movie, we had to make a heavy in the movie. We went to Coach Divine, said, can you represent other coaches? He said, sure. Other coaches that didn't understand what this is about. He said, yeah, I'll do that. So he took the heavy.
He took the heavy.
He took the heavy.
What do you tell kids that play high school football, let's just say, and you're standing in front of them as you have, and you say, what is it you should get out of this?
Two things. Everybody's one on this team. There's no Catholic, there's no Protestant, there's no Mormon, there's no Democrat, there's no Republican. Can I trust you? Work as a team. And that's the key to life. You don't judge people for their religion or what they believe in politics. You judge them for their heart and their hard work, how they treat each other. That's a good team. That's what you should learn. Be a good teammate.
Do you believe, though, that kids that don't play and just give it their all end up with a very valuable experience, even if they don't get to play?
Some do, some don't, because some entitled ones that are like that will live in regret because maybe they didn't work hard, maybe they quit along the way. The ones that didn't quit, they're the ones who do well in business. They're the ones who kept going to practice, working hard, and that paid off for them later on in life. I can name a bunch of guys who are very successful, walk-ons, and in fact, 2 walk-ons just gave millions and millions of dollars to Notre Dame to build a new football practice facility. They were walk-ons. I mean, that's what it's about. Not that they wanted to contribute. That's their contribution. They wanted to be part of the, I call the lore of Notre Dame. When you went to church on Sunday, what's the priest give? What score does he give? Notre Dame score. That's how we grew up, right? And you go home and listen to Lindsey Nelson, and you get Notre Dame winning twice in one weekend. So you had a good week. I'm one of 14 kids, so Notre Dame was a very important because of the immigrants. We believed in the immigrants. They're the ones who came to Notre Dame later on, from the wars and built that football team, went out and beat the rich guys from the, like the Army and the Navy guys and all the Princetons and all the big schools. They went out and won. That's how they got their name. They were the true underdogs.
But you really, when you think about it, if you hadn't taken a risk on yourself, gone to Hollywood, tried to sell the script.
It's a risk, 100%.
But you did it, and had you not, where would you be?
Well, you don't think that way. I don't think that way. I think, here's what I need to do. Go ask Joe Montana in a football game. What if you don't make that pass? Then what? He don't think that way. He's going to make the pass. Ask McMahon the same question. He's going to make that pass because their mind is so focused, and they know what they have to do, and they go to new levels in the mind, and that's what happens. I can't explain that, but it happens.
And it happened to you in a different way.
It happened to me when
a different gift, right?
A different gift.
You couldn't throw the football, but you had a different gift, and the gift was?
Well, the big gift was contributing to that football team. The second gift was going to practice every day, acting like you're going to play. You don't have to tell people I'm going to play. Act like you're going to play, and learn what you need to do to play. And when your time comes, you may have an opportunity to do it. And that's what happened in that football game. 7 seconds changed my whole life.
So tell me about that one play. You get in, and
I was
what
ready.
do you remember about it?
Well, it's if you go into a football game where there's 60,000 people and you don't hear them, you're focused. You're totally focused on that moment, and you're totally focused on what you have to do to get your job done. And that's where my mind was. I didn't hear a sound. I was so focused. I practiced and practiced. It was about preparation. It's about moving when the football moves. It's real basic.
And that's what you did.
That's what I did.
And all of a sudden you were there.
And go where the football is.
And here's the quarterback.
It's real simple, right? And but it's not that simple. There's a lot of work to make that.
To be in the right place at the right time takes a lot of work.
Yes, like Hollywood.
Yep.
Right place, right time. I get turned down. 8 years later, they send me out to go meet the guy from Hoosiers, the World Hoosiers. Yeah. And I go out to meet him. He didn't show up for the meeting. So what do? Sit in a restaurant, feel sorry for yourself? Or do you go out and find him? Well, because I sold insurance, because I was ex-military, you go find the dude.
And you did.
And I did. But who helps you find him? An ordinary guy, a mail carrier, who was happy what he was doing, and all I did was thank him. That was it.
But
Thanks, man.
Hear that.
He said, "Where are you from, man?"
You think people are born with heart, or can you develop great heart?
Both.
You think it's a function of how you grew up?
Yes.
Or is it something in your DNA that you don't even know why you have it?
It's developed. It's developed through time and hardships. It's how you dream and who you hang around. I mean, my goodness, think about, people don't understand what you've been through to become what you became. What you have to do to go out and do all these things to do what you do. It's a lot of hard work. And there's a lot of times that, why am I doing this, right?
A lot of stuff nobody sees. A lot
of stuff nobody sees. And that becomes, how can I say this? It's not work, it's more of passion.
Passion, yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
it's
that's
more
right.
Passion.
So you don't even think about it, you just like doing it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
And that's the way it was for me. You know, when you go to Notre Dame, you got to get in academically. That was the big challenge. Like in Hollywood, I meet a mailman, and I thanked him for his smile. He said, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Indiana, Chicago area." He said, "I'm from Michigan." We had a connection. That's all you need. He liked me, I liked him.
Boom, boom, boom.
Then he said, "Well, what are you out here for?" And I told him, "I'm trying to get a movie done, and I have an idea." And this guy that I was going to meet didn't show up. He said, "Really?" He said, "Who's the guy?" I said, "Angelo Pizzo. He wrote Hoosiers. I know him. I deliver his mail every day."
Here's his address.
He said, "Follow me, dude." I followed him, and bam. Now, who got Rudy made? Michigan State. A guy from Michigan State, think about this, who applied to Notre Dame, got turned down, went to Michigan State as a walk-on. Now he's the president of Columbia Pictures.
And he related to it?
No, he wanted another sports movie like Hoosiers. So he called the guys in from Hoosiers. Now what if I would have sat in that restaurant, felt sorry for myself, and gone home? I would never met that mailman, and that Michigan State guy would never heard my story. That's how it happens.
Seems freaky, yet it makes perfect sense, right?
What did you say earlier? Everything's timing, right place, right time. You can't give up.
You got to work hard.
You got to work hard.
Right time.
People call it lucky. It's not luck. You worked hard.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and you got here, and that's how I look at it, and that's how I feel. And that's hard to explain to kids. You got to keep working, but you can't be entitled. You got to earn it. And the more you earn it, the more you're going to understand that hard work pays off. Kobe Bryant was a great example.
Yeah. I heard a coach say one time, and I thought it's pretty good. Hard work always pays off. You just don't know when and how.
And you don't know when and how, right?
Because it might not even be in the sport that you're playing.
Exactly.
Hard work always pays off.
Right. So I'm at the LA basketball game watching Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never met him.
No.
He's a superstar, yep. Right? My daughter's singing the national anthem before the game. 2 hours before the game, he comes out, bam, bam, shooting his baskets, getting ready for the game, but he's focused. He gets to the free throw line, and he looks up where I'm sitting. He says, "Hey, Rudy." Dude's not talking to me, man. There's no.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey, are you the real Rudy?" I go, "Yeah." He comes walking over with his basketball. He gets real emotional. He says, "Is this your son?" I said, "Yeah." He's 10 years old at the time, and my daughter's 12. He said, "I hear your daughter's doing a national anthem." I said, "Yes." I said, "How did you know?" "We all know it," he says. "We all know you're here." I said, "Really?" He says, "Your son," he says, "what's his name?" I said, "Danny." "You know, Danny, your dad's my hero." He says, "When I was 16 years old, my dad showed me your dad's movie." And I got a message out of that. And the message was, work ethic and get better. Work ethic and get better. He says, "That's why I'm here, work ethic, and I'm getting better." He says, you can look it up on Kobe Bryant, USC, Rudy, and listen to what he said. It's pretty powerful. We became friends, but unfortunately, you know, life happens, and it was very, you just don't know who you're going to meet or talk to. Like, my God, we were all talking. Like, Marcus Luttrell comes up to me, lone survivor from the Navy SEALs last weekend.
Yep.
Say, "Hey, dude," he said, "Rudy, your movie put me back on track." See, you just don't know.
Don't know where you're influencing people.
What the message. That's why it was important not to sit in that restaurant and give up on that dream. Now, Notre Dame did not want a movie made, and you can't blame them. They already had their movie.
They let you have the stadium, no?
Yeah, well, we had to fight for that.
Call this fight, huh?
No.
Yeah.
No. You want a real quick story on that? It worked, a little bit of a distraction to the football team because we're shooting a movie, and Lou didn't want any distractions. We understood that, but so we didn't bother him as much. Athletic director made a point to me that you're not going to use our stadium, so no problem. So we go to the band. We asked the band, "Can we have 8 minutes so we can shoot 3 minutes?" Done. Put my kids in the movie. You got it. It flipped them out, man.
Because they got X amount of time in the stadium.
Yeah, at halftime. We shot the scene at halftime.
Yep.
The final scene. That's how we did it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but you know, it's, as you know, everything takes.
But you gotta be creative and figure it out.
Yeah, and you know, you and I were talking earlier. How much is a movie true? I would always say to people, "What you get out of that movie?"
And that's the truth.
That's the truth. And the kids, they don't care whether you got the tackle. They don't care whether.
No. It's about
that message.
Yep.
And that's why it's still playing today.
And will forever.
And will forever.
Yep. Ruettiger is 76 years old and now resides in Las Vegas, and that's where the site is for many conventions. And so he's a featured speaker for many of them that come to the desert. For CBS News Minnesota, I'm Mike Max.